Adam Schiff, he's getting called out, and I think he's facing all kinds of trouble, and he doesn't quite know what to do because, well, Shifty Schiff is being, called out for the exact same stuff. You cannot have two primary residences. In his case, he's the representative from California, and he has a primary residence there, but apparently also has a primary residence in Maryland. Well, that's not really going to fly. I'll tell you, Bill Pulte, he's going hunting, and he's finding all kinds of stuff. So Adam Schiff was asked about this on NBC, and Shifty Schiff started to squirm when the question came up because, well, he doesn't really have an answer. I didn't say, oh, no, it's just all politics. Watch.
Adam Schiff has engaged in a sustained pattern of possible mortgage fraud. Adam Schiff said that his primary residence was in Maryland to get a cheaper mortgage and rip off America when he must live in California because he was a congressman from California. Now, the government mortgage company, Fannie Mae, says you're, quote, engaged in a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation on several loans. Are these allegations true? How do you respond to them?
They're patently false. And the president knows it, and the housing agency, president's person, Pulte, knows it. He's essentially doing the president's bidding against me, against Letitia James, against this person on the Federal Reserve. Mortgage is their new weapon to go after their critics. But I've been very open about my residency, both in California and in Maryland, with my constituents and with the lenders. So there's no there. But the common denominator is they will manufacture anything to go after their critics, after members of Congress to try to silence them, after John Bolton, after people in the Federal Reserve, after generals, after former presidents. They're investigating Comey and Clapper, the Obamas, the Clintons. Basically, it's free reign with a corrupt leadership at the Justice Department.
I'm telling you, I'm not taking anything that guy says seriously. Are you? I mean, he can defend himself until he's blue in the face. I still remember what he did, and I still remember all the lies he told, and that's never going to go away. And so I'm never going to trust him. I'm never going to trust any of these people. This is the entire problem with the Democrat Party right now. And I'm not the only one. You guys aren't the only ones. You just look at all of America right now. Nobody is registering as Democrats. In fact, the Democrats are freaking out because there's a new analysis that came out in the New York Times. Go back and watch yesterday's show. We went through it in depth. Kind of in the first 20% of the show there, we went into all that, and they've discovered that they have numbers that are way lower. Like every single blue district is going red. And there's another story in today's New York Times about the Electoral College that's going, woo, red, like it's hot fire red, okay? There's no Democrats left. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. I guess they're all dying off, and then you get a few crazy ones like Ma'am Dammy and AOC and Jasmine Crockett, and they're not going to get anywhere. So what's happened to the Democrat Party? They don't know. They're in a total crisis mode. They're having a meeting as we speak, trying to figure this out. And of course, they can't get out of their own freaking way. That's a New England expression, right? They just can't get out of their way because they've got all these stupid expressions that they use. Now they're telling each other not to use them. Anyway, I'll tell you, they've got to kind of figure this one out. Nobody can really figure it out for them because, listen, I've tried. I mean, all they need to do, right, is watch the Trish Regan show. All they need to do is watch this show, and we would tell them what their problems are. Instead, they have to wait for CNN to say they are bad, and garbage, and bad, like the Cracker Barrel brand. Watch.
Look, the Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. In all 4 of these key battleground states, we go out to the Southwest. Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point. at any point this century, at least as far as I could find. Now, what types of gains are we talking about here for the Republican Party? Well, let's compare it to this point during the first Trump administration all the way back in 2017. Look at this. The Republican Party gains in party registration compared to this point back in 2017 during the Trump first administration. In Arizona, you got a Republican gain of 3 points. Okay, how about Nevada? Up the hill we go, even though we're sticking in the Southwest, a gain of 6 points. How about, again, we come to the East Coast, North Carolina, a gain of 8 points for the Republicans. And in the Keystone State, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, again, we're talking about a gain of 8 points. My goodness gracious for Republicans. They are converting old former Democrats to their side of the ledger, as well as picking up new voters, registering new voters, and it absolutely paid off for them back in the 2024 election.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? But you know what? Nobody should be surprised by this, because all you had to do was talk common sense. All you had to do was actually speak to people like they're people. You didn't have to reinvent the wheel, but yet you had the likes of Kamala Harris, who couldn't actually string a sentence together. I mean, different reasons, right? We know that Joe Biden couldn't string a sentence together because poor Joe Biden was suffering from mental decline. So he never made any kind of sense. And then you had Kamala Harris, who was so, I don't even know what to say, because the word salad was bizarre. I mean, it was like her brain was kind of fried in different ways. She couldn't actually speak in complete sentences that made any sense at all, because I don't know what was going on in her head. I mean, the things were like not firing, or at least not firing together. It was messed up. And then she brought in the likes of Timmy, Tampon Tim, to accompany her. And now he's out at this big meeting that they're having for the DNC, trying to figure out, where did we go wrong? What can we do now? And I'll tell you, guys, little advice from Trish Regan. You need to ditch the likes of Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. You need a whole new crowd. I want to see people who believe in America, who believe in capitalism, and who believe in the strength of our middle class. You don't have it. And guess what? We do. This is all you got. This schmo.
To tell you, the privilege of my lifetime was stand beside someone we know was the most qualified and would have been a fantastic president in a President Harris. And look, we wouldn't wake up every day to a on TV and a bunch of nonsense. We would wake up to an adult with compassion and dignity and vision and leadership doing the work, not a man-child crying about whatever's wrong with him. May his fat ankles find something today. Petty as hell.
They really think that's going to help? Do you really think that name calling and saying silly things like that from that silly little man is ever going to help? No. Okay, you guys had no answers. That was the problem. And you wanted to go on and on and on about, I'm sorry, tampons in the men's bathroom. I mean, you just lose me, okay? You just lose America. And that shouldn't be that hard to figure out. I'll tell you this. Hillary Clinton got in a lot of trouble a few years back because she went on, maybe it was like around 21 or 20, might even been around 2020, 21. She went on one of those late night shows and she said, we got to get away from this trans issue and these sports issues and all this stuff. Like, it's not going to play in Peoria, as they say. And she was just massacred. It's like her own party revolted against her. And my point is, you guys just can't get out of your own way. You keep repeating the same nonsense. For example, okay, what do you have? You got Stephen Miller saying we need to secure DC. You got the president saying we need to secure DC. We've got the president also saying same thing about Chicago, that we need to give people a better opportunity. At least, you got to be able to get to school and back and get to work and back in a safe way in the likes of DC or Chicago. And so obviously this is very much high on the president's agenda. He's working on it. And Stephen Miller has been out making the TV rounds saying we need to do this. And obviously you need to do it. If the one thing the government should be able to do, it's to secure your safety, for goodness sakes, right? Your personal safety and your property. Like, that is the job of the government. I mean, I don't care. You may hate the government. You may be totally, really super duper libertarian, but guess what? The one thing you need government for is to secure your property and your personal being, okay? So Now Trump's the bad guy because he wants to do that? Oh, you better believe it. And Stephen Miller, because he's a surrogate for the president and he's out there talking about the importance of securing Washington, D.C., is now called all kinds of names on CNN. You understand the problem we're in, guys. Watch this woman. I'm actually not familiar with her, but she's apparently a fired MSNBC host, another one of those, who's now over on CNN now and then. Take a listen to what she says about Stephen Miller. And you tell me, I mean, do the Democrats not have a problem? If this is their go-to move, I'm sorry, you can't just keep saying this about everybody that you disagree with.
Really quickly, Abby, because anytime that we play something from Stephen Miller, it would be journalistic integrity to point out that he is a white supremacist and he is the brainchild behind this policy. That's not my opinion. That's actual facts. And for him to purport lies from the Oval Office as a white supremacist,
I don't know.
it should be pointed out.
It's reporting
Washington Wall Street Journal's own reporting.
I want to address what he's...
You want to address what... Okay. So you get what's happening. They are just going to continue to tar and feather anybody that they believe is not in agreement with them. And my point to them is you got to get over this, right? There's now a think tank type thing, Third Way, that's telling them, yeah, you got to get over this. You got to actually change how you talk. You got to change your phrases because, nobody actually understands what you're saying. And some of the phrases I'm going to get to in a second. Again, I would just go back to, guys, open up your eyes. You're living in some kind of crazy world, some kind of alternate reality where like all this terminology, cisgender and the pregnant man emoji. I mean, it's all like gobbledygook or microaggressions. I mean, what the heck is a microaggression? To think that somebody can make a complaint to HR saying, oh, well, I felt like I was the victim of a microaggression because, I don't like the way Trish Regan looked across the room the other day. I mean, what the heck is a microaggression, for goodness sakes? Okay, so this is what they're tiling it. This is over at Third Way. Was it something I said? For a party that spends billions of dollars trying to find the perfect language to connect to voters, Democrats and their allies use an awful lot of words and phrases no ordinary person would ever dream of using or saying. It's true. The intent of this language is to include, broaden, empathize, accept, and embrace. The effect of this language is so like the extreme, divisive, elitist rhetoric that they're trying to get away from. Well, look at these things. Okay, so when they're talking about crime, they say effectively that, they're always on the side of the victim. And that's a problem because they call, people that are in jail, incarcerated people or involuntary confinement. How is it involuntary? I mean, you commit a crime. For goodness, it's like they totally forget about any kind of individual responsibility. Or these words, they're saying, don't use these words anymore. You can see Latinx, BIPOC, allyship, intersectionality, minoritized communities. I mean, this is nuts. Birthing people, pregnant people, chest feeding, cisgender. I mean, I don't even know what some of these mean, like dead naming. What the heck is that? The patriarchy, the LGBTQIA. I mean, I had Q. You lost me at I and A and plus. Why not just put the whole alphabet in there? And then this stuff, privilege, violence, dialoguing, othering, triggering, microaggression, progressive stack, centering, safe space. For goodness sakes, enough already, right? Yeah, you should. You should outlaw all those terms. I think that you kind of need to rethink everything. I think that the insanity of the academic agenda crept in ways that are extremely dangerous, frankly, for the party overall.